Leos, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for October 3rd through the 9th, 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different. All right, so Leos, this week we have a lot going on astrologically speaking. The most important event is that we do have Saturn squaring up to the North Node. So this is two very slow-moving planets, making this very collectively significant. So for you, this has been Saturn, who's recently this year entered into your 4th house. And so this has been helping you take seriously your home life, maybe your family life, your personal life, and also your health. So if you've been taking these areas seriously this year, maybe building some long-term foundations, then great. I think it's a great week to do that. It's a great week to channel in that energy into building those foundations. Now, the North Node has been transitioning into your sign this year, your 1st house. So there should be plenty of positive energy here for your independence. And it's just an excellent time to be learning about your independence, about yourself, about your goals, your desires, your personal needs. And so as you channel more positive energy into that, I think you'll find that this week, in the long-term sense, you might be seeing things being built with this, and it's a great week to challenge yourself with this square to see where you can build this independence, build these personal needs of yours, your goals, and just overall your life, which is the 1st house. So yeah, great week to take that seriously, being patient, remembering too that Saturn is about long-term goals. It's about the big picture, so things do take time. But if you are taking those slow and steady steps towards yourself and towards your foundations, then I think that's a great way of working with this week. Now, Saturn is, of course, also squaring up to the South Node, because anytime a planet squares the North Node, squares the South Node. So I do want to mention that on a spiritual developmental note, this is a good week for you to be aware of any old patterns that might still be going on involving relationships, and to be aware of them, because it's really through awareness that they first come to light, and then accepting that we might have some of these old patterns and breaking the patterns. In other words, changing them, making changes, bringing balance back to your relationship side of life. Now, to do that, it requires, of course, the awareness and, of course, the acceptance, but also, willingness to see things in a different light, in the sense that there are some older energies being released involving relationships. There's some past perspectives that are no longer serving you. And again, old patterns that can be changed so you can have healthy relationships. And the key, though, with all of this and the balancing point is that independence. That's where things are pulling you towards, at least on a conscious level. And it's through cultivating and learning more about yourself, again, cultivating your personal needs and learning more about independence, that's going to help also balance out that relationship sector. But I do want to mention that because it will be involving both, and I think it's a great week to, again, bring balance with the 1st house and the 7th house. This is essentially that we can't have good relationships without good independence, self-awareness, and we can't have independence or any self-awareness without relationships in our life. Okay, and they're both equally as important, but it's suggesting that there's some new energy needed with your independence and maybe some old energy being released involving relationships or other people's needs. All right, so that's going to be the Saturn square this week. Very important. We do have a lot of other things going on. Venus is going to be sextiling up to the North Node on Monday, so maybe some positive energy at the beginning of the week towards that life path shift and change. Venus is going to be going into Libra this week, which is a very good placement for Venus, especially coming out of debilitation in Virgo. So she's in dignity here in Libra, and this is your 3rd house. I think you could be enjoying some reading, some writing, some communicating, some learning, maybe getting involved in community for some of you, or with your peers, or connecting with your siblings. All of this can be very enjoyable, and I think there could be just all in all some new value shifting for you in that department. Now, I do also want to mention that Mercury is transitioning into Virgo, where he's in exaltation this week. So this has been a very important area for you, your 2nd house. And one, because Mercury is going in here, but we just had that new moon last week here in the 2nd. And this has been this new beginning now with your material security and your inner resources, your inner and outer resources. So your sense of self-worth, your self-reliance. Okay, these are all things that are being cultivated this month, and I think this week is a great week to continue to cultivate that. To again learn more about your values, to cultivate those values of yours, and really set some new intentions there with your material life. And it's a positive area. You've got Jupiter, who's recently shifted into here about this past month. All right, so that's the second house. Things should certainly continue to unfold there with that. And the sun will be sextiling up to Saturn, so you could have some productive energy at the beginning of the week to, again, lay those foundations with the resources. And Venus will be sextiling up to Pluto, making the about middle part of the week good for, again, learning, reading, writing, sharing, communicating, all of that mental and exchanging energy of life. Now, another very important aspect this week is that Mars is going to be squaring up to Jupiter, and this will be around Wednesday. So with this one, it's involving a different area here. This is Mars in your 5th house. You may have noticed that lately there's been a bit more motivation for you to express yourself, or maybe get creative, maybe do some hobbies, interests, fun things in your life. And I think it's a great week to do that. Now, the square with Jupiter does come across as positive, so you could be feeling perhaps a bit inspired this week to, again, express yourself, whatever the medium might be with that. And with that Jupiter, though, it does tend to expand things in a square, sometimes a bit too much. So if you are feeling a bit overconfident, over-exuberated, maybe some excess, things like that, do be aware of that. But all in all, I think with that bit of inspiration, it is an excellent week for you to channel that into a constructive outlet, for you to express yourself, to enjoy some things in your life, and whatever it is that is close to the heart. All right, 5th house is essentially everything close to the heart. So a good week for that, as long as it's done with balance, with moderation, watching any over or under extremes for that matter. Sometimes with Jupiter, we can be uninspired, in an extreme. It sort of pendulates between the two, or are unconfident about it. So know that there's certainly positive energy here for you. When it comes to the self-expression, there's also positive energy here with your resources. And this is a good week to take some actions towards both of those areas with moderation, with balance, and being aware of any exuberance or excess there. All right, and then as we go into the weekend, the sun, your ruler, will be squaring up to Pluto. So over the weekend, I think particularly important if you are feeling any like wanting to control things, or you're feeling like there's secrecy or something that you're wanting to hide away, or that kind of a thing, because sometimes with the square from Pluto, it can bring out the unhealthy qualities of Pluto. Mostly the control, though, because Pluto very much brings up the ego. And so if you're feeling a strong sort of possessiveness or control in your life in general, do be aware of that over the weekend. It's a great weekend for transformation, for change, for seeing where there might be ego attachments. In other words, that our mind, our ego self, does have specific things that it's very intent on, wants to control, wants to own, wants to possess. But with awareness and with meditation and things like this, we can help balance that out, allow the ego to take the back seat so it's not running the show. Okay, and with that, again, like I said, it can be a very transformational weekend where you're transforming, you're changing, again, releasing these old patterns, which is also Pluto, making positive changes when it comes to your material security, and also positive changes with that self-expression, which has been already changing over the past many years. And it's about stripping away any attachment you might have to that self-expression as well. All right, so that's the week in a nutshell. Leo, the most important event is that Saturn will be squaring the North Node. Again, it's an excellent time for your independence, for your personal needs, putting positive energy into yourself, physical exercise, energy, goals, moving things forward. But this week, it is suggesting a bit of patience with that, a bit of working towards long-term results, and and establishing those foundations with your roots, as it has been ongoing there. And again, continuous development there with the inner and outer resources, as well as maybe some enjoyment to be had with sharing of ideas and learning. All right, so Leos, have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next week.